A very good morning to you. It is about that time we delve into youth and politics. And I am Hilda Wadidi. And with me in studio today, we are going to be discussing the simmering tension within Jubilee Party. And with me in studio, I have an ICT practitioner as well as our president analyst here at Y254. He goes by the name of Kiprono. Say good morning to people.
A very good morning to you, fellow Kenyans. I don't know where you are.
Yes.
This is Kiprono, and we're going to tackle what is really politics.
Yes. So we wanted to find out, there's been a lot of whispers of war and division between the Jubilee Party, which I know you're very, well versed in terms of that party. But do you think that the fight against corruption is what is causing the division in Jubilee?
Basically, from your words and statements, it is whispers.
And
everywhere we have the word whispers and statements that come from. But if I want to say is this, in any family, you can get one kid trying to strangle the other one in a way. But one thing I have to assure you is one thing, is these are only imaginary wars, internal wars. But what I can say is that tomorrow, okay, you are aware that tomorrow on Tuesday we are having actually the party will be having actually a meeting, a parliamentary group meeting, which now, in fact, the basic thing is about how to foster for the Big Four agenda. Other things, there's no politics there. Normally, in any actually, what we usually say in succession politics, we have a lot of issues. Some of them creating of imaginary issues and the likes, like there was in issues of corruption and everything, like you said about the life audits, the lifestyle audits. Now, instead of fostering on that, because our two principals, that is the president and the deputy president, are ready for it. But now when it comes to other fellow soldiers from inside and outside Jubilee, they're trying to say different statements. What does it mean? Let's not use like the statements like life audits to be like political witch hunt and everything. But what I can assure you is that.
But it is coming from within. We have the likes of Duale Murkomen, people who are allied to the deputy president, claiming that this lifestyle audit is also a scheme to later cause the impeachment of Ruto in future.
The point is this, it is again alleged as a scheme. Is because it was a political witch hunt. But then so actually they're not saying.
So it is a political witch hunt.
They are saying now other groups are trying to make that to be a political witch hunt towards actually some certain leaders. Because now imagine the same lifestyle audit will not happen in only Jubilee leaders. It will happen all the public servants. As we talk now, all the senior procurement officers are on compulsory leave.
But the argument they're bringing forward is that if the lifestyle audit is not really aimed at or targeted to anyone in specific, that is according to the deputy president's allies, then it should be done since Kenya. It should be done from the time that Kenya got independence, not just from this particular season.
All our opinions, right? Let me get you back to the law, the right thing that drives all the agenda, the law. The EACC and DPP are trying to crack their nut to understand which law will be used now to conduct this. Are you getting the point? You remember when actually president has announced actually during through the spokesman that all the procurement force to go home. The next thing, what was it? People are going to lawsuits saying that it was actually inappropriate, but in the long run they said let's follow that. Within this 1 month they'll get the right laws to do that lifestyle audit. All those actually, you know, it is politics, saying that it has to come from the other father. And can I tell you one thing? Being the fourth president, the same issue of corruption happened actually during Kenyatta's time, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Moi's time, the Anglo-Leasing and the likes, the time of Kibaki. It's never a new thing. This is the same circle. They are trying now. President Uhuru and the president are the bold people who have taken it head on. Let's give them time. I actually say time is of essence.
Okay, you've talked about this parliamentary group meeting. We'd like to understand where this came from. Is it to solve the drama or the fighting, or is it to discuss the Big Four agenda? Because we are having different parties saying that, different Jubilee leaders saying that, no, we are just meeting to discuss the Big Four, nothing else, blah, blah, blah. And then there are these ones who are saying, no, this has been called purposely to water down the tension and blah, blah, blah. Are you guys going to discuss your family problems or the Big Four agenda?
What I actually believe in, when there's a big meeting at State House, it is meant for the benefit of the country, right? Now, what is the big agenda now? It's a Big Four agenda. Now, I think the president and the deputy has seen it twice to call back their colleagues to come and sit and have strategies on how to implement. Why is it so? it is barely nearly 1 month since actually the budget was read.
Yeah.
Now that means there's allocation of money in each and every sector ready to implement this Big Four agenda. And I can tell you for free, from maybe I can say from the whispers which is now even out, is that the talks is about the Big Four agenda. And believe me true, by tomorrow evening, you can have a call, text me, tell me what they'll talk about it. And I'm sure very true because, you know, media will be there present and they'll be broadcast live by the KBC and other stations, but the thing will be how to implement this Big Four. We'll try to understand how will these MPs implement some policies that will now safeguard that. I think the point. Yes.
All right. Let's move away from that a bit and talk about the corruption issue and the contraband sugar. And we're having CSs being summoned by Parliament in order to, so that if they can be vetted and also be held responsible for whatever happened in terms of negligence, because that was negligence of work. What do you think should happen in the event that they are found culpable?
There are laws. And the same law is the one that subjected the CSs and the PSs to appear at that parliamentary group. There is what you call the rule and the law of the country.
The reason I'm asking is because yesterday we had Moses Kuria Gatundu South MP saying that we should allow the institutions to carry out the investigations on all these corruption incidences we're hearing, and politicians should stay away from it. However, we had Sifuna saying that, the institutions have been compromised many times before, so it can also be compromised. But then this time, because of the Jubilee tensions and the quarrels within, he claims that cartels are now exposing other cartels. And that's why we had the likes of Duale bringing a list of companies saying that, sijui so-and-so's brother is here on this list, this is their companies, blah, blah, blah. So what do you think? Do you think the cartels are exposing each other? Are there even cartels within the Jubilee party?
When you talk about the word of cartel, there are many definitions of cartel. There is cartel in education industry, business industry, in politics and everything. But the point is this, from the Moses Kuria's word yesterday, actually during the interview, is that we have a law that states for anything that happens, that's the reason why there is what you call the probe. The probing must be done by the relevant authorities. If you go against that authorities, will you get the feedback? Will you get the findings? Will you get everything? The same thing, we can run high, low, jump up, but we'll be back to the same institution. It still has to be actually done that. The same, the CI did the job, the same ministry, that is the Ministry of Interior, under the leadership of the CS, the Matiangi, and head of now Wanyambo, the Deputy Chief of Staff. It is their role. Let now the parliamentary be given the report. They're now being questioned, because the role of the parliamentarian group is to question now the CSS and the PSS to understand. Now, are you aware that the MD for, that is Mr. Ongwai, is home now? Actually, under the probe that actually he was found culpable because of what? Murder charges. Now we have an acting MD. Let's allow everything to work out. Let's stop speculation and everything. I saw Sifuna talking yesterday on the same issue, and it was so unfortunate. He forgets he's the same, he's a lawyer by virtue and by practice, but he forgets that the same law is the one that governs the same people, the same CSS, the same cartels you talk about, the same business people, because the same business people doing the business, they have to be guided by the law. They have to be following actually what is needed by the register of companies and everything. Some of this contraband you're saying actually Sorai appearing, was it last week? Yes. He said, I followed all the dues by the cabs. He even went out and said, now I followed all the things. I didn't even sell one kilo. Was he culpable? But in the long run, we had that Rai was the person who wanted to kill Kenyans and everything. That is it. So people need to give the institutions some space to carry out their investigations. Get facts. Okay, there were also some Kenyans online that said that the small whispers of commotion we are hearing, let me call them whispers, inside the Jubilee party is not new. Apparently, they've always been divided. It's just that now, when it comes, once the election is over, now everybody can go their own way. So I guess, could it be that? Is it true that they've always been divided? It's just that now that it's after elections, now people have gone to chase their own political interests. Let me get you back to history. That is about succession politics, and that's why I insist on that. Yes. In any succession politics, remember back before 2013, that was period of 2007 to 2012. That was the time we had a grand coalition parliament. Government, sorry. And if you took note of it, those some actually itchiness, you will realize that there's an arm that was supporting the Honorable, the former Prime Minister, and that was the sitting president, that was Mwai Kibaki. You could hear, oh, there's stories. The same thing happens like now. Any section of politics has its own.
There's also rumors that Uhuru is fearing that the same thing will happen during Mwai
No,
Kibaki's time.
the fact